You need to realize that your input shapes your output. What you listen to builds your perspective. Now, our fifth habit, weekly reset. For me, maybe I like structure that much because I love having a structure. But having this structure of knowing. Hi, Angel. Welcome to our Evolution Diary podcast with your host, Esther Brody. Our Evolution Diary podcast is basically just my diary where I document how I'm growing and evolving into the best version of myself. And I hope I can bring you on the journey to evolving and growing and also become the best version of yourself. I hope you're here for the long haul. Enjoy. Mwah. Hi, Angel. Welcome back to Evolution Diary Podcast, your safe space for self growth, self discovery, and evolving into your higher self. It's your host, Esther, and I hope you're having a beautiful, wonderful, fantastic day. I hope your day is off to a great start. I hope you're enjoying your day. I hope everything is working out in your favor. I hope the stars are aligning for your sake. Hi, guys. Welcome back to another podcast episode. Today, I'll be talking about things I started doing, or rather, 10 things I started doing to level up my life. Now, before we do that, we do our question, quotes, and affirmation for the week. Our question for the week is: what is one habit you can start today that your future self will thank you for? Our quote for the week is: success does not come from what you do occasionally, it comes from what you do consistently. And our affirmation for the week is: every small step I take today is leading me to the best version of myself. So let's get right into today's podcast episode. Today, like I said, I'll be talking about 10 things that I started doing to level up my life. When I started these habits, I didn't just start them all at once. I started them one by one. It took me like a span of 2 to 3 years in order to implement all these habits into my life and make them into routines and make them into systems that work well for me. I want you to remember that habits and routines are built steadily and not overnight. So you don't hear me say these 10 things and you feel you need to do all of them at once. No, please. Just little by little. Just take it one by one and don't rush into it. Take what's good for you and leave what's not. That's it. Not everything is meant to be done immediately. You can take your time. Don't rush. Life is not running away. Time is running, but time is not running. As long as you're using your time wisely. So yeah, let's get right into it. The first one is exercise. I think I have spoken about exercise so much on this podcast. At this rate, I need to stop talking about it for exercise. It is not just your physical fitness. Exercise is not just about physical fitness. It's about building your resilience and it boosts your mental health. I don't know about you, but for me, it does. It's about building discipline and doing it even when you don't feel like it. It's about showing up for yourself physically and showing yourself that you care for your temple, which is your body, and taking care of your temples. When your brain sees you doing these things and it just reaffirms you as the person that you want to become. It gives you confidence to show up in other areas of your life with that confidence. That confidence in knowing that you're someone that shows up for yourself, that you can trust yourself to do what you want to do. Consistency matters more than intensity when it comes to exercising. So it's not about doing a 5 hour workout once in 3 weeks. No. It's about showing up every day, even if it's just for 10 minutes. That's all that matters. Making sure that you're showing up for yourself every single day. Some ways that I move my body is strength training, Pilates, walking, and I'm trying to get into running. I'm really trying, but I've not just found that tiny bit of motivation I can tap into that will become discipline later. But I really, really want to become someone that runs. But slowly but surely, I'm not in a rush. I need to realize that movement is medicine for the body and the mind. Okay. Number two, spending time with God. Another habit that I've spoken about consistently on this podcast. Spending time with God is something that it just makes me and allows me to start my day in such a beautiful note, on such a beautiful note. And I just love it so much. I'm not a perfect Christian by any means necessary. I'm not even in the running competition for that. But what really matters to me is just spending time with God, being in the presence of God, reading my Bible, learning about God, seeing what He says about me, centering my day around Him so I can just move in His presence and just be in His presence and just enjoy His presence. And centering my day around God gives me peace, it gives me clarity, it gives me direction. Some ways that I spend time with God is reading my Bible, devotionals, prayer. I do my quiet time in the morning just to ground myself in the day and not just be like running aimlessly, basically. It's just about being in your purpose, not performance. You need to realize that you're not doing this for anybody. Your time with God is not for anyone else, it's for you and you alone. When you make time for God, you allow Him to guide your steps and not just your schedule. Okay, rain is falling, and I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I hope you can't. Yeah, I don't know, it's been raining a lot. I love it, but just know when I'm recording the podcast. Another one is journaling. Journaling has been my outlet since I was a child. You know, when you're in secondary school and you're writing in your book, I hate everybody and it disturbing me. I've always been that kind of child. I've always been that kind of person that feels the need to write it out in order to let it out, basically. I write it out to let it out and just let it go. For me, it's like once I write about something, I can process my emotions better and I can just let it go and just forget about it, basically. Journaling helps to process your emotions, track your growth, and visualize your goals. Your journaling does not need to be like mine when you're writing out what you are feeling. Your journaling can be gratitude days, just writing three things that you're grateful for every day. It can be brain dumps, it can be goal tracking. And my favorite, it can be venting through writing. It does not have to be perfect. Sometimes if you see my writing when I'm journaling, you think it's a chicken that is stepping on the book. Because yeah, it's so ugly. But it just makes sense for me and just the way I like to process my emotions. I need to realize that journaling is meeting yourself on paper. I think when I was planning for this episode and I saw that quote or saw that statement, it really made sense for me that journaling is meeting yourself on paper, and that just makes so much beautiful sense. I don't know why and I don't know how. Fourth habit is listening to podcasts. I don't know about you, but me, I'm a podcast girl. I will choose podcast over music self if possible. I love listening to podcasts, and podcasts are a free way to learn from people ahead of you. I listen to people that own businesses. I listen to people that are talking about self improvement. I'm listening to people that are talking about anything that I could be interested in any shape or form that I have such limited knowledge on. I listen to people that have much more knowledge on that might even be their area of expertise, and just brush up my knowledge and just increase my knowledge on certain topics. I love listening to podcasts. I don't know why. Maybe I just listen to people talk. It just helps me. But yeah, some of my favorite podcasts are Working Hard by Grace Beverly. I adore that woman. Like I pray to meet her someday. I pray to meet her someday. Another one I just started listening to is Ladies Will Launch, just a podcast that brings women in business founders and they talk about it, and I love it. I love listening to their perspective on business because everybody has such different stories and different journeys, and I just love it. And another one is Mindset Mentor. I really love listening to that. I really love that podcast. I have so many more, but these are the three that easily came to mind. So yeah, another one way that I use my podcast is habit stacking. While I'm walking, I listen to podcasts. While I'm doing my house chores, I listen to podcasts. You need to realize that your input shapes your output. What you listen to builds your perspective. Now, our fifth habit, weekly reset. For me, I maybe I like structure that much because I love having a structure. But having this structure of knowing that every Saturday I clean my space. Every Saturday I clean my room, I wash my clothes, I sweep my floor, I wash my bathroom. Like it just helps me. It helps me to stay proactive rather than reactive. For me, it just helps me to reset. I choose my Saturdays for cleaning. I clean on Saturdays, I clean my room, I clean everywhere. And on Sundays, I do my reflection, I do my goal setting, I do my weekly planning. That's, I just love that. So I can just start the new week on a good note, on a sweet note. I'm not scrambling around, I'm not thinking of what I want to do. I've already planned ahead. Like I've helped my future self in so many ways. And a weekly reset is an act of self respect, not just organization. Number six, reading self improvement books. I'm a reader. I'm a reader at heart. I love reading, especially romance books. Now, I how I moved from romance to self improvement, I don't know yet. But I still love romance book. I would choose a romance book over a self improvement book anytime, any day. But self improvement books have really helped me. Like they've really helped me. I don't even know how. But I find reading easy because I love reading naturally. So it's kind of easier for me to read self improvement books. I don't know. For most people don't like it, but me I do. Anything to help me improve my life, I'm all for it. And you says that books expand your mindset. They offer new frameworks and they spark creativity. For me, how I read is the book for the month. Like now, last month, my book for the month was Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. Now, I take the book, I find the number of pages the book, let's say it is 300 pages, and I want to read every day. So I divide 300 by the number of days in the month. Like April was 30 days. So I divided that 300. I don't think it's 300, but just hypothetically, 300 divided by 30. That's 10 pages per day. So every day I read 10 pages in order to be able to cover the book in a span of a month. So I read one book per month. That's how I make reading easy for me. So I'm not behind because every month I have a new book. I set that at the beginning of the year. I planned the books I want to read every month. So yeah, and you don't need to do that. Sometimes 5 pages is enough for a day. For some people, it's okay. You don't need to read a lot of pages. Like, no, you can read a book in 2 months, 3 months. That's your choice. As long as it's impacting your life positively. Some of my favorite books are Atomic Habits, The Let Them Theory. I absolutely loved that book. Like the way I've been implementing that Let Them Theory and lets me into my life, beautiful. Another one is the 5 a.m. Club. I've read that book like 2, 3 times now. And I think I'm going to my fourth very soon. I just love it. It just gives me a burst of motivation anytime I'm falling behind. And my favorite, The Alchemist. When I firstly heard of this book, I was like, what are you people talking about? But then I read this book. Such a beautiful book, such a thought-provoking book. I loved it. Like anybody that has not read it, please read it. It's such a wonderful book. Now you need to realize that the person that you are becoming is hidden in the books you are willing to read. Like Bishop David Oyedepo will say, readers are leaders. Yep. My next habit, number seven, spending time alone. You need to realize that being alone teaches you self awareness, it strengthens your confidence, and it helps you to recharge. I love being alone. If I don't know if you watch me on YouTube, you realize that it's just basically me that you see from the beginning to the other end. And just in case you don't have a YouTube channel, go and check it out. Her. But I'm always alone. I value my alone time a lot and I make my alone time as productive as possible. And you need to realize that solitude is not loneliness, it's a sacred space to hear your own thoughts without noise. The outside world is very noisy. I think the rain is increasing, but we move. The outside world is very noisy and it can be a lot. And when you are not spending time alone, you don't have time to hear your own thoughts. You don't have time to be by yourself. There's no time to recharge. There's no time to woosah, like do you get? So you need to just find ways to schedule time to be to yourself. Maybe it's at night, maybe it's in the morning, whatever works for you, just do it. And when you master being alone, you stop needing validation from outside. Number eight, saying no. This is my favorite word. No. No, I cannot do it. No, I cannot come. No. In fact, no without explanation behind it is even more better. You need to realize that every yes to something misaligned is a no to yourself. This statement, it blew my mind. It blew my mind. In case you didn't hear that, every yes to something misaligned is a no to yourself. I don't want to say no to myself. I'm sorry, I just love myself so much. I do not want to say no to myself. Saying no protects your energy, your focus, and your peace. You need to realize that saying no is not selfish, it's self respect. Period. Number nine, shifting from negative mindsets immediately. I don't know who said this because I follow a lot of incredible people, if I do say so myself. And she said that instead of me, I mean, I personalize a lot of things. So instead of you taking a thought and allowing it to sit, immediately it comes to your mind, change it. Reframe that thought immediately. You know, immediately that thing comes to your mind, reframe that thought immediately. Don't allow it to stay. Negative thoughts will come, but allowing that negative thought to stay is a choice. One day I was going on my walk, and I am very much a fake scenario kind of person. Like I imagine things in my head or situations in my head, and I was like, oh, I can walk into a room and people not like. I'm like, wait, what if they like me? What if I enter into a room and they love me? And the thought that has always been in my head is that when I walk into a room, people will not like me. And I do not know why, because I think I'm a very lovable person myself. So why would I think that people will not love me? Why is that thought in my head? And immediately I shifted that thought into, what if I walk into a room and they like me? What if I walk into a room and people love me immediately? Why do I have to think that I will walk into a room and people would not like me? That like that day, the day I did that, oh God, everything. I swear, there's some things you do that everything just shifts in your mind. Like your entire brain chemistry just changes. And since then, a negative thought comes, I do not allow it to sit for a second. I change it immediately. Oh, I don't have this. Oh, I have this in abundance. Period. And the ways you can shift your negative thoughts is reframing your thoughts, like what I just talked about. Gratitude pivot. Oh my god, I'm thirsty. Gratitude. Changing it from, oh, I don't have this, to, oh, I'm grateful that I have this. I may not have this, but I'm grateful that I have this. Okay? Now, prayer, moving your body, speaking affirmations out loud. You need to realize that mindset management is a daily, moment by moment discipline. It happens every day. You need to be aware of your thoughts and aware of your feelings so that you can know how how your mind is moving. I hope that makes sense. You can't always control your first thought, but you can control the second one. And our last but not the least, because I am eager to end this episode because I think this rain sound is too loud. But anywho, I hope it's not disturb this episode. I just pray it's not. Number 10, controlling my emotions. I'm an emotional girl. I'm an empath. I don't cry, I weep. I don't know why that came to me. Like, I don't cry, I weep. Like everything gets to me. I don't have I did not have an emotional bulletproof before. Everything I took personally, everything was like something against me. Like I just took everything personally. And growing up now, becoming of this age, I've realized that if I want to live a happy, peaceful, joyful life, I need to be able to control my emotions. I need to be able to have a handle on my emotions. I need to be able to not let people's words, thoughts, actions hold me back because of how it affects me emotionally and mentally. Emotional regulation is not suppression, it's choosing your response with intention. Controlling your emotions helps you to protect your peace, reclaim your power, and make better decisions and maintain your relationships. And the ways you can control your emotions, you can pause before reacting, take deep breaths, journaling, and praying. For me, the ways that I've done this is pausing before reacting and journaling. Like I said, I'm a venter. I would write everything down such a fast paced way. You even wonder what am I writing? Like what am I writing? But pausing before I react is one way that I've really learned to control my emotions because I'm very much a reactive person. Like I very much so. And instead of me reacting, I just allow those words marinate in my head first. Whatever the person has said to me, whatever the person has done to me, before I react in a negative way, most of the time at least. I'm just choosing my peace most of the time. Sometimes I can pause and not react at all because it's genuinely not what's my energy. And yeah, you need to realize that maturing is realizing that your emotions are real, but they are not always right. Sometimes you might be overreacting, sometimes it might be making it more than it seems, but just realizing that sometimes it's not worth reacting to, sometimes it's not worth responding to, and just holding on to your power. Now, that's the end. My truth is hurting. To recap on the habits I talked about, exercising, spending time with God, journaling, listening to podcasts, weekly resets, reading self improvement books, spending time alone, saying no, shifting from negative mindset immediately, controlling my emotions. You need to realize that, like I said earlier, you don't need to implement all these habits at once. It's not about perfection, it's about consistent progress. It has taken me a span of 2, 3 years, in fact, even more than that, to implement all these things into my life. Now, I want you to pick one or two habits to start with that makes sense for your own life at this moment. You need to realize that small shifts create massive change over time. Thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast episode. I'm so grateful and I just loved talking about this. I don't know why. It's really makes me happy. Anyway, until next time, keep evolving and I'll speak to you guys soon. Bye. Mwah.
Angel, thank you for listening to another episode of our Evolution Diary podcast. I hope you guys had a nice time. Make sure to leave your takeaways and anything that you learned from this episode in the comment section. Or you can DM me on Instagram. Make sure to leave a rating and a review. Every link you need will be in the description box or in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening.